In the small German hamlet of Wüstefeld, population 30, there was a man everyone trusted. Armin Meiwes mowed his neighbors' lawns. He repaired their cars. He played Santa Claus for the children at Christmas. He babysat. And in his attic, he had built a slaughter room, soundproofed with mattresses, furnished with a butcher's table, a cage, and a video camera mounted to the wall. When police finally entered that room in December 2002, they found something that German law had no name for. Because what Armin Meiwes had done wasn't technically illegal. This is the case that forced an entire country to rewrite its laws. Armin Meiwes was born in Essen in 1961. His father was a police officer. His mother, Waltraud, was something else entirely. Psychologists would later describe her as domineering, manipulative, controlling. She isolated Armin from the world, accompanying him to dates, to work, humiliating him in front of friends. When he was nearly 20 years old, she still had the words "children's bedroom" on his door. His father left when Armin was 12. His brothers moved out. And alone in that 44-room mansion, a boy began constructing an inner world. One built around an imaginary younger brother he named Frankie. Frankie was blonde. Frankie was loyal. Frankie would never leave him. And in Armin's fantasy, the way to keep Frankie forever was to consume him. He traced the fantasy back to two childhood influences: the fairy tale Hansel and Gretel, where a witch fattens children for the oven, and a scene from Robinson Crusoe, where a tribesman speaks of eating a fallen companion as an act of reverence. By age 8, neighbors were teaching him how to gut rabbits. He was fascinated by home slaughter. The line between animal and human began to blur. His mother died in 1999, and with her death, the last anchor holding him to normal life was gone. Meiwes, now a 40-year-old computer repair technician, former soldier, respected in his community, went online. In early 2000, he posted more than 60 advertisements across cannibal fetish forums. He used the alias Frankie. His username, Antrophagus. The ads, written in English, were direct, looking for a well-built 18 to 30-year-old to be slaughtered and then consumed. Several men responded. Most backed out. 2 came close, a young Austrian and an Italian who wanted to be whipped to death and grilled with a flamethrower. Neither went through with it. Then, on February 5, 2001, a 43-year-old telecommunications engineer from Berlin answered. His name was Bernd Jürgen Brandes. Username, Kator99. He didn't want to back out. He wanted to be eaten. March 9, 2001. Brandes traveled from Berlin to Rotenburg, a one-way journey. Meiwes picked him up at the station. They drove to the farmhouse. They went upstairs. What happened next is known in excruciating detail because Armin Meiwes filmed all of it. 4 hours of video. The court would later watch every frame. Brandes swallowed 20 sleeping tablets. He drank half a bottle of schnapps. Then, with Brandes's consent, Meiwes amputated his penis. They attempted to fry it together and eat it, but it burned in the pan. Meiwes fed it to his dog instead. Brandes, losing blood rapidly, retreated to the bath. Meiwes sat in the next room, reading a Star Trek novel, waiting. Hours passed. In the early morning of March 10th, Meiwes kissed Brandes, and then drove a kitchen knife into his neck. He then hung the body from a meat hook. He butchered it. He wrapped portions in plastic and stacked them in his freezer, right next to a takeaway pizza. Over the following weeks and months, Meiwes defrosted and consumed roughly 20 kilograms of human flesh. He fried it in olive oil and garlic. He set his table with candles. He used his best cutlery. He paired it with a South African red wine. He later told investigators, "With every bite, my memory of him grew stronger." He also noted, matter-of-factly, that Brandes tasted of pork, and that since consuming him, his English had improved, because Brandes had spoken good English. Meiwes continued seeking victims. 5 more men responded to his ads. One came from London. He didn't kill any of them, but he met them. He talked to them. In July 2001, a university student in Innsbruck stumbled across one of Meiwes's chat room conversations. He alerted authorities. German police didn't act immediately. It took them 17 months. On December 10, 2002, nearly 2 years after the killing, they finally knocked on his door. Meiwes didn't resist. He led them to the freezer. He showed them the video. He confessed to everything. The trial began in Kassel in December 2003, and it immediately ran into a legal wall Germany had never encountered. Cannibalism was not a crime under German law. Brandes had volunteered. There was video proof of his consent. Meiwes had not kidnapped him. He hadn't forced him. The prosecution charged him with murder for sexual gratification. The defense argued it was, at worst, killing on demand, punishable by a maximum of 5 years. In January 2004, the court delivered its verdict: manslaughter. Sentence: 8.5 years. Germany erupted. Prosecutors appealed. They argued the video showed Meiwes killed not out of mercy, but for his own gratification, that this was murder. In May 2006, a retrial delivered a different verdict: murder, life imprisonment. Armin Meiwes remains in prison to this day, in Kassel, the same city where he was tried. He has reportedly become a vegetarian. The case of Armin Meiwes doesn't fit neatly into true crime categories. He wasn't a serial killer in the traditional sense. His victim wasn't a victim in the traditional sense. What makes this case uniquely disturbing isn't just what happened in that attic. It's that the entire thing exists in a grey space between murder and consent, between sickness and sanity, between what the law forbids and what it never imagined it would have to. The Rotenburg cannibal didn't just consume a man. He consumed the assumptions we all hold about what human beings are capable of. If you're struggling with intrusive thoughts or self-harm, reach out. You're not alone. Thanks for watching. If this case stayed with you, drop a comment. I read them all. And subscribe for more deep dives into the cases that changed everything.